Question 1. A company is building a mobile app that needs to securely authenticate users and allow them to access AWS services without storing credentials in the app. What is the best solution? Options: A. Embed AWS IAM credentials in the mobile app code. B. Use Amazon Cognito for user authentication and authorization. C. Require users to enter AWS access keys manually in the app. D. Use an EC2 instance to store credentials and provide temporary tokens. Correct answer: B. Use Amazon Cognito for user authentication and authorization. Explanation: Amazon Cognito provides secure user authentication with federated identity support. Allows temporary IAM role assumption, eliminating the need to store credentials in the app. Why not other options? Option A. Hard-coding IAM credentials is a huge security risk. Option C. Asking users to manually enter AWS keys is not user-friendly or secure. Option D. Storing credentials on EC2 creates a single point of failure and is not scalable. Question 2. A healthcare analytics firm runs batch data processing jobs that execute once every night for 4 hours. They want to optimize compute costs. Which instance type should they use? Options: A. On-demand EC2 instances. B. Spot instances with automatic interruption handling. C. Reserved instances with a 3-year term. D. Savings plans for flexibility across instance families. Correct answer: C. Reserved instances with a 3-year term. Explanation: Reserved instances provide up to 72% cost savings for predictable workloads. Since the batch jobs run regularly every night, long-term commitment is cost-effective. Why not other options? Option A. On-demand is too expensive for predictable workloads. Option B. Spot instances are cheaper but can be interrupted, which is risky. Option D. Savings plans are great, but reserved instances provide better savings for consistent workloads. Question 3. A government agency needs to store petabytes of compliance logs for 10 years. The logs must be secure, immutable, and cost-effective but rarely accessed. Which AWS storage solution is the best fit? Options: A. Store logs in Amazon S3 standard with versioning enabled. B. Use Amazon S3 Glacier Deep Archive with object lock. C. Store logs in an Amazon EFS file system with lifecycle policies. D. Use an Amazon RDS database with backups enabled. Correct answer: B. Use Amazon S3 Glacier Deep Archive with object lock. Explanation: S3 Glacier Deep Archive is the lowest cost storage option for long-term retention. Object lock enables worm, write once read many, compliance, making data immutable. Why not other options? Option A. S3 standard is expensive for long-term storage and does not provide compliance guarantees. Option C. EFS is for frequently accessed files and is too costly for archiving. Option D. RDS is for structured data and not suited for storing logs. Question 4. An e-commerce company is expecting high traffic spikes during a flash sale. The infrastructure should automatically scale and distribute traffic effectively. What is the best architecture? Options: A. Deploy a single large EC2 instance with an elastic IP. B. Use an auto-scaling group, ASG, with EC2 instances and an application load balancer, ALB. C. Use an Amazon RDS read replica to handle high traffic. D. Use AWS Lambda instead of EC2 for hosting the website. Correct answer: B. Use an auto-scaling group, ASG, with EC2 instances and an application load balancer, ALB. Explanation: auto-scaling groups automatically increase or decrease instances based on demand. ALB ensures load distribution across multiple instances, preventing failures. Why not other options? Option A. A single instance cannot handle spikes and creates a single point of failure. Option C. RDS read replicas help scale databases, not web traffic. Option D. AWS Lambda is good for serverless applications, but not ideal for a full-fledged e-commerce site. Question 5. A global news website needs a multi-region, highly available database with automatic failover. Which AWS database service should be used? Options: A. Use Amazon RDS Multi-AZ for cross-region replication. B. Use Amazon DynamoDB Global Tables. C. Use Amazon Aurora Global Database. D. Deploy a self-managed MySQL cluster on EC2. Correct answer: C. Use Amazon Aurora Global Database. Explanation: Aurora Global Database allows low-latency cross-region replication with automatic failover. Provides faster replication, sub-second latency, compared to RDS Multi-AZ. Why not other options? Option A. RDS Multi-AZ only provides high availability in one region, not across multiple regions. Option B. DynamoDB Global Tables are great for NoSQL workloads, but not for relational databases. Option D. Managing MySQL clusters manually is complex and not highly available by default. Question 6. A fintech company is building a public API that requires authentication, rate limiting, and security monitoring. Which AWS service is the best choice? Options: A. Deploy an EC2 instance running Jinx as an API gateway. B. Use Amazon API Gateway with AWS WAF and Cognito. C. Use an Elastic Load Balancer, ELB, in front of EC2 instances. D. Deploy AWS Lambda functions with IAM role-based authentication. Correct answer: B. Use Amazon API Gateway with AWS WAF and Cognito. Explanation: Amazon API Gateway provides rate limiting, authentication, and monitoring. AWS WAF protects against DDoS attacks. Amazon Cognito manages secure user authentication. Why not other options? Option A. Jinx on EC2 requires manual scaling and security management. Option C. ELB cannot handle API authentication and request throttling. Option D. AWS Lambda is great for backend logic, but does not act as an API gateway. Question 7. A company processes terabytes of log data daily and needs a cost-effective, scalable data pipeline. Which AWS service should they use? Options: A. Process logs with EC2 instances and store them in RDS. B. Use Amazon Kinesis data streams for real-time log processing. C. Store logs in EFS and analyze them with Athena. D. Use AWS Lambda and API Gateway for batch log processing. Correct answer: B. Use Amazon Kinesis data streams for real-time log processing. Explanation: Amazon Kinesis is designed for real-time data ingestion and processing. Scales automatically and integrates with AWS analytics tools. Why not other options? Option A. EC2 and RDS are not designed for high-throughput log processing. Option C. EFS is not optimized for analytics, and Athena works better with S3, not EFS. Option D. AWS Lambda is not suitable for high-volume real-time processing. Question 8. A gaming company needs to store and serve millions of static assets, images, videos, CSS, JS, for a high-traffic website. Which AWS service is the best choice? Options: A. Store assets in Amazon S3 with CloudFront CDN. B. Use an EBS volume mounted on EC2. C. Store files in Amazon RDS for easy retrieval. D. Deploy an NFS server on EC2 and use EFS. Correct answer: A. Store assets in Amazon S3 with CloudFront CDN. Explanation: S3 is highly scalable for static asset storage. CloudFront CDN caches files globally, reducing latency. Why not other options? Option B. EBS is tied to one EC2 instance, making it not scalable. Option C. RDS is not designed for storing static assets. Option D. EFS is more expensive and not optimized for static content delivery. Question 9. A company has two VPCs in the same AWS region and another VPC in a different AWS region. The company wants to establish low latency, private connectivity between these VPCs while keeping management overhead minimal. Which AWS service should be used? Options: A. Use VPC peering between all three VPCs. B. Use AWS Transit Gateway for interregion connectivity and AWS VPN for interregion traffic. C. Use AWS Transit Gateway with interregion peering enabled. D. Use AWS Direct Connect to link the VPCs. Correct answer: C. Use AWS Transit Gateway with interregion peering enabled. Explanation: AWS Transit Gateway simplifies connectivity management between multiple VPCs. Interregion peering allows secure, private communication without the need for VPN tunnels. More scalable than VPC peering, which requires manual connection setup for each VPC pair. Why not other options? Option A. VPC peering becomes complex as more VPCs are added, end-to-end connections required. Option B. VPN adds latency and is not needed when Transit Gateway supports interregion peering. Option D. Direct Connect is for hybrid cloud scenarios, not for inter-VPC connections. Question 10. A company is hosting a publicly accessible web application in a VPC. The application must be highly available, secure, and protected against DDoS attacks. Which architecture should be used? Options: A. Deploy EC2 instances in a private subnet with a VPN connection. B. Deploy EC2 instances in a public subnet, attach an elastic IP, and enable DDoS protection. C. Use an application load balancer, ALB, in public subnets with EC2 instances in private subnets. D. Use Amazon CloudFront to serve traffic directly from S3. Correct answer: C. Use an application load balancer, ALB, in public subnets with EC2 instances in private subnets. Explanation: the ALB distributes traffic to EC2 instances in private subnets, enhancing security. AWS Shield Standard provides DDoS protection by default for ALB. Security groups and NACLs restrict access only through the ALB. Why not other options? Option A. VPN does not help for public access, and EC2 instances in a private subnet would not be accessible. Option B. Exposing EC2 instances directly with elastic IPs is insecure. Option D. CloudFront works well with static content, but not for dynamic EC2-based applications.